Hello, Star Wars fans! Thank you for joining us on another Hasbro Pulse live stream for Star Wars. Normally for these sessions we have lots of great new reveals and pre-orders for you, but today it's going to be extra special. This live stream is going to be dedicated to our first ever Black Series HasLab, the Rancor, and share some exciting updates and behind the scenes news with you, our passionate fans. We have so many great things to show you, and we wanted to bring you along for the process. So what we're sharing with you today is behind the scenes look at our development, basically bringing you along for the journey. So my name is Jing, I'm a brand manager for Black Series.
And my name's Eric, I'm a designer on the Black Series.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Eric.
Yeah, it's really good to see you. Yeah, and luckily we've been able to spend more time together now, just in the same space. It's nice to not be talking through a computer screen anymore.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, have lunch together and spend lots of time with the Rancor together. So it's good that we're starting this. Yeah. So we launched the campaign during PulseCon on October 22nd. We had so much fun with that campaign. So with that, let's take another look at our reveal video of our digital gray model again. I have to give it another clap because I love that video so much.
Same here.
Yeah.
I every single time I see the Rancor, it's just such a dream come true to finally just have it be here and be able to actually show it to fans and be able to just talk about it publicly. It's so much fun.
Yeah, we've been working on it for a little while, and I love that video. It gives me chills every single time. The team here at Hasbro did such a great job with it. But of course today we have some additional news to share with all of you. Obviously the launch video was a gray digital render. Again, we wanted to bring you along for the journey. So you see how it's made and how the process it is that we go through. So hopefully to bring this HasLab to fruition. The team worked to get some details to share with you, starting with today's reveal of our very first prototype of the Rancor, so the fans can get a glimpse of our very first physical gray model that we got to see as well.
Yeah, we're really excited to be able to show this to you guys. This is definitely a first look of this model. This is the very first model that we were able to actually get in hand in person to be able to review. Normally how the process works is we get in this initial gray model for us to be able to review functionality, make sure that everything works correctly, and it's just all part of the process. And we wanted to be able to bring that process to you guys to be able to show how these things are made. And we were really impressed with the functionality and stability of the model. We don't always get that with the first prototype, but we were really pleasantly surprised with how this figure functioned. And he did stand completely on his own in all its glory, and he was able to do all the poses that we wanted him to do, which is fantastic for a first model. Yeah. We were really happy with that.
For a first prototype, and as we go through this live stream, we'll see more images. For him to do all the poses and for him to stand there and be stable and give us all those action moves, it was awesome.
It was, and especially with just how top heavy he is, he has proportional changes in what we normally have on standard Black Series figures. So we knew it was always going to be a challenge of make sure that he functions correctly, and that was one of the things we really wanted to focus on for this. So to be able to have this, and it'll only get better from here. This is the first model, and we are constantly making improvements.
Yeah, and he has what we see here, Eric. So he looks different, right?
Yeah.
He has different shades of gray.
Yes.
That's obviously not what he's going to look like in the final model. Can you tell us a little bit about all that gray coloring we see here?
Yeah, so part of the process when we are developing a figure is we have various shades of color to be able to denote material changes, mold changes, things that are similar materials. So this represents all of the different textures, materials that we are using on the final product. So it just shows how premium this is. We not only wanted it to look premium, we wanted it to feel premium as well. So we really hammered that home on this model and trying to make sure that we could, as on the development team, could visualize all those different parts and make sure that it was consistent in how we want it to look, as well as being able to like get it in person and be able to feel how these are. Underneath the skin, so we have kind of a hard plastic skeleton underneath, and we have a softer PVC skin that's over top of the body and the head in particular to be able to give it that like organic look and feel. We really wanted to make him feel natural because this is a giant creature. We really wanted that premium feel and to make him just, we didn't want him to be just a hard plastic figure. So the arms and the legs, though, those are harder plastic materials to make them feel more solid, be able to support itself, and being able to have that functionality. And we incorporated all of those materials into this model, which is definitely a lot more than we normally do on any sort of Black Series figure.
Yeah, so like the different grays, just it's to show the different materials that we put in there. And again, to your point, to your words, to make him feel more organic,
Yes.
more natural. He's not just a hard plastic creature. He has the different types of plastic to make him feel like, you know, a creature, right?
Yeah,
So,
like he has just like a little bit of squish to him, like in the body and in the head and stuff,
Yeah.
and it helps him to like flex and be able to just, he just feels so much more premium with that material on there.
yeah, and I felt it, like it definitely, and it was interesting to see all that gray kind of dictate what all of that means, and it definitely feels much more organic and natural, and definitely helps with the posability of this creature, which is what we were going for. Okay, all right, moving on. We spent, for those that joined us during the launch, we spent a good amount of time talking about the drool.
Just a bit of time. Yeah, that was an unexpected like little detour to be able to like talk about that little detail. And yeah, it was fun to talk about. We don't normally get to talk about drool in our normal live streams.
Yeah, but you know, it's Star Wars. We're going to talk about the drool, especially when it comes to the Rancor. But the gray model actually gives you a better sense of that extra drool piece. So I'm actually going to bring this conversation back up. Like you can see in these images, they can be positioned in different parts of the mouth, or you can remove it completely. So it's an extra removable piece. Again, just talking to the detail that the team put into creating a model such as this. And again, helping with the posability of this. Right? The Rancor in real life could be drooling from all points of his mouth. And so that's what we wanted to capture here as well.
Yeah, he's a very hungry monster, and definitely like he has a lot of snacks in the movie. So being able to like he gets a little bit hungry and he drools a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. We all drool.
Yeah, we all do.
Okay, and moving on, we won't spend another 15 minutes on the drool. So moving on to the size and reach of this. You know, in the digital renders that we saw, he had such impressive reach. But we wanted to show you how it looked like in the physical gray model as well, because we thought that was really important for the fans to see him actually do this physically. And again, this is our first ever prototype, and he did all of these, which is tremendous, like standing there and stable. And just look at that arm reach, arm span, and look at that reach as he goes up. You know, as we've mentioned before, the arm span is a whopping 42 inches wide. And with those long arms, he can reach up to 27 inches. So it speaks, I know it's his arm span, it speaks to his reach, right?
Yeah.
It speaks to the plastic and the the details and the attention we put into the monster, the creature that is the Rancor, and being able to grab things, you know, put it in his mouth and eat it, that reach is important for us.
Yeah, and just like the amount of plastic that went into those arms, like they were so much bigger than we almost even expected. Like when he's all like posed out normal, like he doesn't, like his arms aren't nearly as impressive, but the minute you put them out and get them into these more dynamic poses to be able to spread those arms out, it's just so much more impressive. And we were really happy with, like, when we brought this to the photo studio to pose out, how well he was able to hold the arms up, being able to function and do all that, especially with like how lanky his arms are.
Yeah, I thought that having that prototype do that was crucial, and we definitely wanted to show the fans what that looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to showcase also the range of motion and the claws. So the Rancor has these really long, big claws and fingers, and we really wanted to make sure that he could not only get to a full finger extension, but he could also get into a full fist, which was something really important to us, be able to not only pose, but also be able to grasp onto other figures and be able to articulate around these things, because we know that he grabs onto different characters, creatures, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's especially important for the Rancor having all those joints, being able to articulate, to your point, to hold a figure and everything like that. But his fingers are so long.
They are.
And so, you know, large, for him to be able to like just clasp his hands closed with those fingers and then to open it helps with the posability, but then also, again, for us, it was so important that the functionality is there, you know, for posing and just for the function of how we wanted the Rancor to be. So
yeah, and we were really happy with how that turned out, and we're excited for you guys to be able to get this in person, be able to see it for yourself. And we've also been bringing butterfly joints into a lot of our new figures recently, so that was something really important that we wanted to be able to bring into a figure of this size. We wanted to make sure that any of the innovation that we had in Black Series, we brought to this figure. So we wanted this to be the pinnacle of a Black Series figure. We wanted everything that was in our best Black Series figures to be in this.
Yeah,
so,
and you only work on a few Black Series.
Yeah,
figures.
only a couple. Yeah, it's like a handful. So it's luckily we had a pool of innovation to pull from, and our wonderful sculptor Tom did a fantastic job in getting this thing to function the way that we wanted him to. And it was really important to be able to bring that in, and this also allows us to just get this huge range of motion and articulation that we expect from a creature like this, not only like in the movie, but there's like being able to get him into any pose that you really want. That's something that's really important to us, and especially with all the poses he can get into, we thought it was crucial to test all of these joints as well. So that's one of the first things we did the minute we got the figure out. When it was shipped to us, we just immediately started testing and making sure that things worked the way we wanted them to, and we're supplying notes on things that we wanted to improve and look at again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and seeing the Rancor holding onto a standard stormtrooper too, like that was crucial, right? Like that was such a pivotal moment in the movie. We definitely wanted to see that, see the model do that.
Yeah, and luckily, like, I mean, a stormtrooper's like one of our more like standard figures. He's fairly like comparable to the size of the other figures, so that it was just a great testing point for us to be able to just put a stormtrooper in there and be like, okay, sweet, he can hold up a 6-inch figure. And like I said earlier, these were all he was able to get all these poses to be able to hold that figure in that position, and we were just so happy with how it was functioning.
Yeah, and I mean, we mentioned getting into the poses that are important, holding a figure up. We know what comes next after that, right? Like the first thing we tested was like,
can he eat him? We wanted to make sure that like we said earlier, he gets hungry, and we wanted to make sure that he could fit a decent amount of a figure in his mouth.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And we've seen some chatter on the fans, like whether or not his mouth opens and articulates. For sure, it does. To us, that was so crucial for the Rancor to be able to do that. And it's actually a delicate balance, because we wanted to make sure that the Rancor can open his mouth as big as possible, but also make sure that we maintain the aesthetics of it. So he looks proportionate, he looks natural, he looks like he would in the movies. And we do know that he's big enough to chomp on the 6-inch This Is Black Series, so that 6-inch classic figure. So we're testing that out here, as you can see, against the Stormtrooper, which is our standard for a Black Series. Again, this is the first ever prototype. We're working on that mouth to get it deep enough to put a big chunk of the figure on it, and we're actually going to work even more to get it even deeper before first prototype, like first thing we tested is putting something in his mouth.
Yeah, I like had to rush into my office and just find a Stormtrooper or really any figure to like put in his mouth. That was one of the first things we wanted to test, because it's also just fun to make giant monster eat other figures. It's something that I did as a kid a lot. So
right, yeah, no, and we should play a game. Be like, can the Rancor eat it?
Yep, we should, and we kind of did. Yeah, we took everything, and we're just yeah.
Let's test out that mouth. And obviously, like we saw in the movies, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, it's something that he does. So we definitely want to test that out with the first ever physical gray prototype that we have here. So.
Yeah, so of course we saw the Rancor next to a Stormtrooper in the digital renders, but here he is in the gray model standing next to a Stormtrooper as well. Once again, wanted to really show that scale and show the scale of the physical model. It's one thing to see it as a digital render. It's another thing to see it in person and actually like a real thing you can have on the shelf. So this really shows the size of him in comparison to a 6-inch figure. He really just towers over him. And it really shows that scale as well when he's holding the Stormtrooper in his claws. You can really appreciate how big of a beast the Rancor is. Like, he looks honestly small in his hands.
Yeah, which is how he should.
Yes.
Which is how we should be seeing the Rancor in all its glory.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was just a few images at our first look of our first ever prototype. Honestly, you guys are seeing the first ever prototype just like we were seeing the first ever prototype. We just wanted to share with you guys what that process was like. There's so many more features that we will be sharing with you at a later date. Like we said during this launch, this Rancor will have more than 9 times deco count than a standard figure. So it's not just the first prototype, it's just the first prototype that we're sharing here, but we're going to share so much more as we continue development, as we get those get those details in, and we wanted to bring you along for that journey with us.
Yeah, and the first time that we get in these models, they come in the gray and kind of unpainted to be able to allow us to really focus on the functionality of the figure without being distracted by the paint on the figure. So that was something that we wanted to show you guys as soon as we got it in, to be able to show you the first prototype, but it is going to be painted, so we're really excited to be able to show you guys that.
We promise it's going to be painted. So lots more to share there. So definitely stay tuned, stay with us at future live streams or marketing beats, because there's definitely going to be information there for you as well. Okay. Well, that was our first gray model. Yep. I love that. But we have one more for you. We wanted to actually also share with you our first tier for the Rancor. We didn't reveal it during the live stream. We wanted to ensure that there was more exciting news, because 6-week campaign, we wanted to share with you additional news throughout the campaign. So today we're going to share that first tier. And our first tier is one that harkens back to our first ever HasLab back in 2018, the vintage Jabba's sail barge. We had Yak Face and that special Power of the Force packaging that fans loved, and thought it would be great for us to do something similar for the Rancor. It's a nice new link we're creating here, integrating Power of the Force into the HasLabs. So our first tier is a figure, and it's the Gamorrean Guard. Also in that Power of the Force throwback packaging, for the film out, we used the same one as the original Power of the Force pack in the 3 3/4 inch scale, harkening back to that pack as well. And there's no future plans for this packaging, for this figure, anywhere else in the line. So this is the place to get it. And we've also included a special collector's coin here for those that might have noticed it. We thought it was important to include a scaled up version for this pack, scaled up to that 6-inch scale, so that we maintain the proportions of the pack and the aesthetics of the pack, so it looks good in the pack. And this is the first time that we see a coin like this. for Black Series in that 6-inch scale.
We're really excited to be able to bring this coin in. Like Jing mentioned earlier, this was something that really is this common thread that we've had with our HasLabs we've done with the yak face on the coin and the card back, but we really wanted a figure that directly tied into the Rancor itself. It was a great opportunity for us to be able to bring in that packaging, and we actually got in the coin. We're able to scan the coin and directly sculpt it and scale it up to that new size, and it was a really cool way for us to get a new expression into Black Series, and it was really important for us to be able to maintain those proportions on the package so it looked correct for this release of the Gamorrean.
Yeah, and I love those Power of the Force. It really just brings it back, and there's so much nostalgia and history there. So I'm really glad that we were able to bring the Gamorrean Guard in this way.
Yeah, and let's actually take a look at the Gamorrean Guard himself. He comes with all 3 of the weapons that he came with. So it comes with the axe, the staff, and the hatchet. This is one of our absolute favorite figures. Every single time I see him, I'm just so happy with how he turned out. He looks so cool. He has the softgoods fur around his waist, looking as good as ever, and he's a great figure to interact with the Rancor. Once again, it was really important for us to be able to have figures that interact directly with the Rancor. So being able to have a Gamorrean available here, it was really important for us. So it was also important for us for the Rancor to be able to hold onto the figure. We always knew that this was going to be a struggle with how just large he is. He's so much bigger and heavier than any of our other standard figures like the Stormtrooper earlier. And even for a figure as big as this one, we were really happy with how he was able to hold him. And he is then, of course, as we see in the movie, he eats the Gamorrean a little bit, and we really want to make sure that we paid homage to that and wanted to showcase him putting the Gamorrean into his mouth to be able to eat and chomp on that Gamorrean, just like we saw in the movie.
Yeah. So the images you see here is the digital version of him doing that. But to your point, the first thing we did when we got the model was tested against the physical product, right? So as a bonus, we definitely want to show that as well.
Yeah, so we not only have the digital, but we also have the physical. So here he is recreating those shots in the physical version of this model. Once again, it was really important for us to be able to showcase how he is able to function, be able to hold this Gamorrean. We were so happy with how he worked in there and how he was able to function and fit inside the mouth, and being able to bring that figure up to his mouth and be able to chomp on him and get his nice little Gamorrean snack. So yeah, here is kind of a nice side view of how deep the Gamorrean goes right now, and we're really happy with how he fits in the mouth and the functionality of that whole feature, being able to recreate that scene from the movie.
Yeah, and this is just a first prototype, which of course we're going to test with the prototypes we get, but as we continue development, we'll work on that even more and get even more of that in there. So it was good though for a first prototype to be able to stick that right in.
It definitely was. And yeah, and as you can see here, he's standing next to the Gamorrean too, just to show that scale. Once again, this was one of our deluxe figures. Yeah. So being able to show this deluxe figure who was a large figure, to be able to show him next to the Rancor itself, it really just shows the scale of him. And as a reminder, this tier, it unlocks at 11,000. So there are 3 more tiers after that, and we're hoping that we can unlock them all. But this was the first tier.
Yeah, which I was really excited about. So I hope you guys like it as well. So that was our first look at the physical model and our first tier revealed. And thank you so much for our fans for joining us. And thank you, Eric, for joining, because it's always fun to see you. And for the model, again, we wanted to give you fans a behind-the-scenes look here. Again, as a quick reminder, this is our very first prototype. It's a work-in-progress model. We'll definitely share more details and news with you as we get them, so definitely stay tuned. And there's more news to come. And of course, we wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that the campaign ends on December 6th, so please don't miss out after that date. That's it for the Rancor. So back it while you can, and let's unlock all those tiers. Including that first tier of the Gamorrean Guard at 11,000, and many more to come after that. It's available on Hasbro Pulse, in the US, Canada, and UK at HasbroPulse.com and UK.HasbroPulse.com. And for our global partners in other parts of the world, thank you so much for the interest from our fans globally. At this point, our total includes the numbers from those all over the world. So, you know, it's so great to see commitment and support from fans everywhere, and we appreciate it. And I know they help us make Star Wars Black Series what it is. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much. There's more to come. Please stay tuned. Thank you, Eric. We'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.